My name is Sonia Monterosa, and I choose who I become. I could have, if I could have chosen who I could have been ever since the moment I was conceived, I would have never made the choice to be me. I would have never chose to be denied by my biological father right from the moment he learned that my mom was pregnant. My choice would not have been to live 6 years of my life without my beloved mother, her leaving it all behind and to migrate to the USA in order to provide me a better life. I could have never chose for her to sacrifice. I would have never chose for her to sacrifice her years working 2 to 3 jobs just to save enough money to provide me with an education, with a decent living, and with the opportunity to bring me back to her arms. The life I have now would have never been my first choice, yet that is something that I wasn't able to choose over, but I know that it has taught me a lot for all the 16 years I've been in. I have always been obsessed with picture perfect, maybe because I have never had such a perfect picture. Indeed, my life can have thousands of ups and downs, make you change the way you think about life, and that can later affect who you become. Yet I believe that no matter what circumstances I am on, I know and no matter how many obstacles are there in my road to try to change who I am always the one who chooses who I become. However, I always have my doubts. After 3 years, about 3 years ago, something very expected yet at the same time very unexpected happened. My mom, my stepdad, and I decided to move from New York to come live at Durham, North Carolina. I had just finished my second year in middle school at New York and was nervous to start my last at NC. I had a good feeling about it all, oh, though I, and that gave me confidence. My mom made sure to register me as soon as possible, and I was assigned at first to attend Neal Middle School, thus ended up attending Loves Grove Middle School. The first day of school was great, the best I've ever had. I didn't get lost, and I met many new people that later on became my friends. I also met the one person that little by little changed the way I viewed everything around me. Kevin to me resulted being such a mystery that I learned a lot from. I caught an instant crush on him right from the moment I saw him. On the fourth day of school, I came to realize that the feeling was mutual as he asked me to be his girlfriend. I had only dated a guy before, but it had been easy for it had never been easy for me to do things without overthinking them, not when it came to the things like dating anyway. In spite of that, with him it was different. He just seemed so great to me that I didn't have to think twice to answer. We had a nice relationship, but until the day I started to provoke trusting him. He decided to inform me more about his life, and it turned out that he wasn't exactly who I thought he was. However, that didn't change the way I felt about him. We were the opposite of each other. I was a good girl, and he was a troublemaker. Still, that didn't affect us from getting along. We had the same group of friends, not exactly good influences. They all turned on the fire while I always tried to extinguish it. Kevin never tried to influence me into anything, and he always stopped our friends into doing so as well. He cared about me probably more than he ever cared about himself, as he didn't get influenced by his friends and felt like he had to be how they expected him to be. He once told me, "I didn't choose to live this life, I was brought to it." Those words were the droplets of water that seeded my relief needed to keep growing. After that, it all became about me trying to influence him into doing what was right, and trying to convince him that he could change who he thought he had to be. The way he was managing his life affected me in such a way that I started to feel like it was my responsibility to make him realize he was wrong. After so many times of me attempting to help him, I realized I couldn't help someone that didn't want to be helped, and that I was in a way defeating my belief. He had to choose who to become, just as I had to choose whether to stay in the relationship and eventually become like him, or give it all up and become my own thing. Choosing to follow my mind and logic rather than my heart and emotions, I decided to do what was best for me. I knew I wanted something different for myself, and that no matter how hard I tried to change things for him, it was a lost matter. Kevin had a major impact in my life. He made me realize many things I couldn't see before I met him. He was in a way forced by influences to be the way he was, yet he could have changed that if he would have shared my belief. He didn't change things for himself, but he did change them for me. I am now conscious about how people, things, and events can change how I view myself. I believe